For decades, the standard model of cyber defense assumed a physical intrusion. We looked for external executable files forcing their way onto a hard drive. Modern advanced persistent threats bypass this model. Attackers no longer drop executable binaries onto a disk. Instead, they execute a strategy known as living in the guardrail. The exploit nests within the exact safety mechanisms designed to protect the system. Standard, trusted Linux background daemons, the utilities responsible for routine system maintenance, are manipulated to execute malicious logic without triggering anomaly alerts. Because these operations happen within volatile memory, or RAM, there is no traditional file structure for forensic teams to analyze after a breach. By weaponizing native operating system mechanics, the attacker turns the OS itself into a customized rootkit. This diagram outlines a 4-layer architectural stack of native exploit persistence: permission, process, memory, and network. The foundation is the permission level. The vulnerability frequently begins during routine troubleshooting. When an administrator is locked out of root access, they often query AI coding assistance for a recovery workaround. These models rapidly search for seams, routinely suggesting the manipulation of set user ID bits. Applying the command chmod +s sets the SUID bit, allowing a file to execute with the owner's permissions. If root owns it, the standard user inherits root identity. This elevation bypasses standard authentication gateways. Traditional security scanners observe this action and register no threat. The manipulated file is a native, trusted system tool. An administrative fix meant to restore access becomes a permanent native backdoor. This shifts our focus to the second layer, the process level. The primary challenge is keeping that elevated shell alive. Under normal Linux process life cycles, closing a terminal window kills the standard bash session and terminates all associated child processes. To bypass this rule, attackers weaponize terminal multiplexers, specifically the utility tmux. By generating a detached tmux window, the execution thread is separated from the active session. The disconnected node stays illuminated, parked in volatile RAM. Standard remediation efforts, such as system reloads, fail to kill this hidden process. Because the password file retains the standard user identifier, the parked process re-hooks into the environment after the system reboots. The system's own user identity mechanics shield the backdoor from resets, creating an unbreakable persistence loop. At the memory level, malicious logic executes silently within the runtime environment. Scripting runtimes serve as the ideal environment for this evasion, specifically targeting the Python memory allocator. This visualization maps the CPython memory division, small, monitored allocators alongside isolated boundary blocks. A data packet exceeding the 128-byte threshold forces the allocator to route execution logic into the unmonitored large space. This heap override bypasses high-level monitors, which are calibrated to scan only expected execution patterns within small allocators. The manipulation operates close to the bare hardware, where OS-level security software lacks the visibility to detect it. By confining pure execution logic within these manipulated boundaries, no temporary files are ever written to the physical drive. Operating strictly within volatile memory leaves zero paper trail, rendering traditional disk-based forensic analysis useless. This diagram marks the final layer, the network layer. The attacker must exfiltrate stolen data without triggering network alarms. To mask outbound data, attackers mimic organic protocol traffic, using tools like WebRTC or Snowflake. Modern cryptographic standards, such as AES 256, ensure the actual payload contents remain opaque to network defenders. This opaque pipe represents the encrypted tunnel. Specialized scrapers measure the byte sizes of exiting packets, plotting the vertical height of these bursts and measuring the exact millisecond gaps between them. Using DTLS handshake fingerprinting, these sizes and intervals are correlated to known signatures. This side-channel approach de-anonymizes the routing source without decrypting a single byte. Encryption acts as an opaque curtain, but the metadata metabolism is the shadow that reveals exactly what is moving behind it. This matrix maps the complete Guardrail attack chain across all 4 vectors: SUID file list RAM, tmux injection, heap override, and WebRTC tapping, with their respective stealth meters maxing out. In the entry phase, an AI-assisted SUID escalation silently opens the door to the user identity. During the persistence phase, a detached tmux session parks the exploit safely in volatile RAM. For the evasion phase, Python memory boundary manipulation hides the execution logic from the OS kernel. Finally, in the exfiltration phase, WebRTC obfuscation masks the outbound data stream's metabolism. If a malicious script mimics the heartbeat of a standard background daemon update, anomaly-based security is blind to it. Securing modern infrastructure requires abandoning the search for legacy binary signatures. Defense must transition toward the holistic, metabolic analysis of system behavior.